We start with the England manager Gareth Southgate and his ongoing support of Jordan Henderson. On Friday, Southgate said he really didn't understand why England fans chose to boo Henderson during the game against Australia at Wembley. Henderson has since said that the crowd reaction won't change who he is and that he remains committed to playing for England. Facing further questioning on the incident today, Southgate reiterated his disappointment at the booing, but softened his stance by saying he understood the decision that Henderson made to go and play there doesn't align with his strong support for the LGBTQ community.
I don't understand why we would boo our own team. As I said earlier, what I do understand is that people would feel that the decision to go and play there doesn't align with his, strong support of the LGBTQ community in the past. I've not seen him comment anywhere differently. I don't believe he's an individual whose values and principles have changed, and I would back him against pretty much everybody in the country in terms of what he stands for, what he believes in. But I accept that the decision to go and play there doesn't align with that. So he understands that, he accepts that. But I repeat, when we're playing for England, I feel as if everybody should be behind the team. But if people choose not to be, then we have to deal with that.
Well, that kind of exchange dominated the news conference that Gareth Southgate held in the last couple of hours. Our senior reporter, Rob Dawson, was there. Let's have a word with Rob now. Rob, there can be no doubt now, can there, that Henderson will remain part of Southgate's plans no matter what?
Yeah, look, Nick, I asked the England manager directly if the booing of Jordan Henderson continues while he's wearing an England shirt, can he continue to select him? And Gareth Southgate answered 100% he can. He made it very, very clear that he will continue to pick Jordan Henderson for England, both in the squad and in the starting 11, if he believes he is worthy of that in footballing terms. And so it's the England manager trying to draw a line under and separate what happens on the field with what is happening off the field. But of course, it's very, very difficult to do that, isn't it, when Jordan Henderson has decided to play his football in Saudi Arabia, where same-sex relationships are illegal, after Henderson has given such vocal and repeated support for the LGBTQ+ community in this country. So it's a very difficult one for the England manager, isn't it? Because he wants to show full support for a player who's been very, very important for him and England for many years now, more than a decade, in fact. It was 12 years ago that Jordan Henderson first made his England debut. But he also doesn't want to alienate or criticise the England supporters who feel very badly treated and let down, if you like, by the decisions that Jordan Henderson has made. But I don't think there could have been a more emphatic show of support from Gareth Southgate for Jordan Henderson today. He challenged head-on those people who have questioned Henderson's morals, saying that he's one of the most ethically strong people in the country. And yet his tone has changed a little bit. I think it is a little bit more nuanced, what Southgate said today. He doesn't believe that any England fan should boo any England player unless they've done something that is unacceptable. And Southgate clearly doesn't believe that what Henderson has done in deciding to play football in Saudi Arabia is unacceptable. So he doesn't believe there is justification for the England fans to boo him. It's very clear as well today, by the way, that Jordan Henderson has the very vocal and unequivocal support of his England teammates. We spoke to Kyle Walker in that news conference, who has played equally long as Jordan Henderson for England, almost. They've played together in the England setup for more than 10 years. They know each other incredibly well. And have a listen to what Kyle Walker said when I asked him about Jordan Henderson and the booing he received at Wembley on Friday night. It was strong stuff from the Manchester City man.
It's not nice to hear. I've known Jordan since probably the age of 9 when we was playing against Sheffield United v Sunderland. So to see what he's done for the country for so many years, and what he does for around the team as well, as we know him, it's a family in there, and we spend, as we have done, a week together in a hotel, and he's a big part of the togetherness and keeping the group, together and making sure that everyone feels welcome when, new players come in or people step in. So to hear that, it's not nice to hear, but people are entitled to their opinions. But you know, I fully back Jordan and his decision and what he's had to do.
Let's talk about the football, shall we? They need just a point against Italy tomorrow night, Rob, to qualify. But how will that square with what Kyle Walker called the desire for a bit of payback?
Yeah, he didn't use the word revenge, did he? But of course, Kyle Walker started in a back three against Italy in that Euro 2020 final a couple of summers ago when England lost on penalties. And I know for a fact that weighs very heavily on his shoulders, and indeed a lot of other England players in this squad. And so this is the first time that Italy will have played at Wembley since that victory in the Euros final. And Walker talked about needing to settle the score, wanting to settle the score. Now, look, I don't think we should think that in any way that desire for revenge is going to overtake England's professionalism or the way that the players will approach this match. Let's be honest, they beat Italy in their own backyard in qualifying earlier on in this campaign. So they've settled some scores already there. But it will feel a bit different, I think, being back at Wembley. And the wider professional point that Gareth Southgate was making was he's very aware that England only need a point, and he's very aware that this is a tough game against a very high calibre opposition in Italy. And so he said that he's not going to go and chase the game if England are drawing with only a few minutes to go, and that makes perfect professional sense, doesn't it? Look, England lost their 100% record when they drew with Ukraine in Poland, but they're still unbeaten. They would like to continue unbeaten. They would like to top Group C, which would mean they'd get a higher seeding if and when they get to the finals next summer, of course. But first things first, Gareth Southgate wants to see this team qualify. And because Italy have to play Ukraine in their remaining matches in qualifying, it means a point is enough for England, in short, because both Italy and Ukraine can't get maximum points from their final rounds of fixtures. And that's very evident that the England manager is aware of that.
Ultimately, the first objective is always to qualify for the tournaments, and our performances earlier in the group have put us in a really strong position. So, although the first thing we want to do is win the game, play well, win the game, but we know if it's the 87th minute and we're level, then we don't need to lob the goalkeeper into the box at the end of the game.
That's Gareth Southgate being very practical, isn't it, about his planning for tomorrow night. And let's be honest, every time that England have come up against quality opposition in Gareth Southgate's tenure, they've tended to go a little bit defensive, particularly in midfield. And so whilst we expect the senior players to all come back in, you're going to have Jordan Pickford in goal, you're going to have Kyle Walker at right back, Harry Maguire as one of the centre-backs, you're going to have Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice in the middle of midfield, you're going to have Harry Kane leading the line and captaining the side up front, of course. There aren't that many places up for grabs for tomorrow night's starting 11. The wide attacking positions, well, they're always up for grabs and they're always an area of debate. And with Bukayo Saka not here in this squad because of injury, then it'll be interesting to see who he goes for why in those wide positions. But I think one of the most interesting ones is going to be who plays centre-back alongside Harry Maguire. He was asked in that news conference about John Stones, who got some time on a substitute in the friendly against Australia on Friday night. And while Southgate said, yeah, John Stones is available and an option, he also said that England are managing his time in support of what Manchester City are doing in terms of managing his workload. Is there a hint there that maybe Stones won't get a start tomorrow night? Because Southgate also talked up Mark Gay, who started the last two England games in September, by the way. He said he is very calm, positionally excellent, composed on the ball, and very good mentally. A glowing tribute from Gareth Southgate for Mark Gahey. Does that mean it will be him alongside Harry Maguire tomorrow night? We wait to see. We'll look for more clues over the coming 24 hours or so. But that discussion about Jordan Henderson being booed by some of his own supporters, well, I think that's going to dominate the news agenda between now and kick-off tomorrow night.
Indeed. Rob, thanks very much.